It is no secret to longtime fans of the channel that trading card games have been a big influence in my life, both on and off the channel. In this series, both DemonBattler and myself will be opening 24 packs, or one box, of each core Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set in chronological order. After each opening, we will build decks from all of the cards we have opened thus far, then duel each other in a best-of-3 match with 3 prizes up for grabs to improve our decks. The winner will receive 2 of those prizes, and the loser will get 1. The possibilities for prizes are almost limitless, including single cards, sealed product, structure decks, and much more. Every card in the entire game's history will be obtainable in some form. However, neither of us will be able to rest on past laurels easily. The ever-changing official Forbidden and Limited list, our own choices of cards to be banished to the Shadow Realm, and even changes to the very rules of the game will keep our decks and duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Stardust Overdrive was released November 17th, 2009. This set introduced the Reptilian archetype, a reptile-based archetype that cares about monsters with 0 attack. This set also introduced new support for the Frog, Infernity, Gemini, and Fortune Lady archetypes. There's quite a bit to cover in this set, even though there aren't a ton of super impactful cards, but I do have a lot to talk about because the cards that are impactful are really strong. The first card we would like to discuss is Quick Draw Syncron. This card is pretty notoriously powerful in Edison format, which we are coming up on. Absolute Power Force is the latest set that's legal in Edison, so we're coming up to one of the most loved formats in the game. Quick Draw Syncron is a 5-star tuner that lets you special summon it from your hand by just sending a monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can substitute that card for any Syncron tuner, so you can special summon, by Synchro Summon, any monster that requires a Syncron tuner, which there's quite a few of. And then the next card I'd like to discuss is Level Eater. This will not be good now, but it will be good much later on when we get to Link format. You can special summon it by reducing a monster of level 5 or higher you control. You would be able to reduce that monster's level to 1, or level by 1, and then you can special summon it. This is not once per turn, and it can't be tributed except for a tribute summon, but that doesn't matter because when this card becomes relevant, we're going to be using it for extra deck plays. Then the next card I'd like to discuss is Infernity Necromancer. This is a 2k defender that when you normal summon it, it's changed the defense position, and then if you have no cards in hand, you can special summon an Infernity monster other than Infernity Necromancer. This will see a lot of play if we can make the Infernity deck work. Next is Swap Frog, and there is a very good possibility that Swap Frog could be banned. This card sees fringe play even in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! The Frog deck is still out there, and it can take you by real surprise. This can be special summoned by discarding a water monster from your hand. This is not once per turn either. Whenever it's summoned, you get to Foolish Burial a level 2 or lower water aqua monster from your deck, and that is going to dump cards like Treeborn Frog and eventually Ronin Totem, which is going to get us into Frog format, and that was not a very fun format. But we're going to have to go through it eventually. And then once per turn, you can return a monster you control to your hand, and then you gain an extra normal summon for a frog monster. You're just not able to normal swap frog with it. So if we play the frog deck, we're going to have to be very careful on how we use that additional normal summon and how it's declared. Now, the next card I'd like to discuss is Gemini Spark. Gemini Spark is the most powerful piece of Gemini support that we have so far. You contribute a face-up level 4 Gemini monster at quick play speed to target one card on the field, destroy it, and draw a card. This was one of the biggest reasons to play a Gemini-based deck such as Gigavise, but unfortunately I won't be playing Gigavise because somebody had to ban Gigaplant. Then the last comment I'd like to talk about is Moire of Greed. This is going to be a staple in water-based decks that have garnets in them, because if you draw your hard garnet, you can moire it back into your deck. This shuffles 2 water monsters from your hand into the deck, then draws 3 cards. And then at the rare slot, we have the rest of the Fortune Ladies. Unfortunately, with the Fortune Lady archetype being exclusively at rare, we probably won't be able to play it at all. It's also not super great. We also have in the set at rare Jin Releaser of Rituals, which is extremely banned right now and is never going to be able to come off the list. So the way this card is so powerful is that when you ritual summon a monster, you can banish it from your graveyard as one of the monsters requires for the ritual summon, and then if you ritual summon using this card, your opponent gets locked out of special summons as long as the ritual summon monster is face up on the field. As you can imagine, there are some very powerful ritual archetypes in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! So this is the reason why this card had to be banned. It's a complete special summon lock, and this is something that we will play in our ritual-based decks. And I do have a ritual-based deck that I would like to try out, just not now. We do have a couple of interesting super rares. The two super rare synchros aren't great. The Reptilian Hydra requires a Reptilian tuner. It's good in the archetype because you get to destroy all of your opponent's monsters with 0 attack and draw a card, and the Reptilian archetype is all about reducing your opponent's monsters to 0 attack. Black Brute Drago is a synchro monster that is Gemini support. It's a level 8 synchro that's really big. It can turn your Gemini monsters in hand to MSTs, and then if it gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you get to special summon a Gemini from your graveyard, and it's treated as an effect monster. So this is good in a Gemini deck specifically, but the Gemini deck that I would love to have played is no good because Gigaplant got banned, and that's probably the best Gemini. The best generic super rare in this set is Preparation of Rites. This card is very strong. This lets you draw 2 cards as long as the cards you want to draw are a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck and a ritual spell out of your graveyard. This will see play in ritual decks, and we will need to consider pivoting to a ritual deck if we get multiples. The big super rare I'm going to be looking for, and Demon is going to be looking for, is Gateway of the Six. There is absolutely no way that this card can ever come off the limited list. So what this does is every time a 6 samurai monster is normal or special summon, Gateway gets 2 Bushido counters, and you can remove Bushido counters from anywhere on the field to activate this card's effects. By removing 2 counters, you get to buff a 6 samurai or Shien effect monster by 500. For 4 counters, you can buy back a 6 samurai from either your deck or your graveyard, so it's a Shien smoke signal. And then for 6 counters, you can special summon a Shien effect monster from your graveyard. This card single-handedly escalated 6 samurai to the top of the meta after Edison format. This card, and especially cards that we got later on, such as a legendary 6 Samurai Shien, which hopefully won't show up in the progression series because that card is incredibly frustrating to play against, and it is going to make one of us spend a ban on it, but that is neither here nor there. I think that this vaults 6 Samurai to playability, and if I get this, I'm probably going to play Sams. Now at the ultra rare slot, we have the rest of the Earthbound Immortals. 2 of these are very strong, the other is not. The 2 that are very strong are Earthbound Immortal Kokoraya and Earthbound Immortal Uru. Kokoraya gets to destroy all cards on the field if it's destroyed by a card effect other than its own. And it's a 2800 body, so it's a 3-turn clock on its own. That's one of the big reasons I like this card so much, is it's a 3-turn clock that blows up the entire board if it gets destroyed. And then Earthbound Immortal Uru lets you steal a monster by tributing one of your other monsters, and it's a 3k body, which is massive. Unfortunately, the other Earthbound Immortal Wiriko Charaska, is not very good. It's a little bit too hard to set up, but if you can set it up, it will win the game on the spot. So if you normal summon Wiriko Charaska, you can target 1 to 3 other cards you control, but not more than the cards your opponent has in their hand. You shuffle those into your deck, and then your opponent discards that many cards, and it gains 1000 attack for each card discarded. So if you can get this off when your opponent has 3 cards, it's a 3100 direct attacker. I just think it's way too many hoops to jump through, which is too bad considering that this is the big bad boss monster of Season 1 of 5Ds. And then the other 2 synchros aren't bad. We won't talk about Majestic Star Dragon because we're never making that. That requires specifically Stardust Dragon, Stardust Xiaolong, and then another level 1 monster. But these other 2 synchros aren't too bad. We have Blackwing Silverwind the Ascendant, which is Blackwing's big boss monster. It requires 3 materials, including a Blackwing tuner, so we probably won't be making this too easily just because it needs 3 materials. When it's synchro summoned, you get to blow up 2 face-up monsters on the field, and then it protects the first Blackwing monster that you control from being destroyed by battle. It's not a bad aid, it's just a little difficult to make because it requires 3 materials. And then the other good synchro at Ultra Rare is Explosive Magician. This is a 2506, which isn't bad. It's not completely generic though, you do need spellcaster monsters as the non-tuners, and then that spell counter effect is pretty much gravy. You won't be able to make use of it unless you're playing something like Endymion, which I don't think we're really going to be able to play Endymion in Progression Series, even though we have the structure deck to do it. And then for the secret rares, Dark Cimoooooooo is probably the most impactful secret rare. There are a couple of them that are quite good, but Dark Cimoooooooo is probably the best one in a vacuum. It's BLS, but for Darks and Winds. This card really feels like it came out of Phantom Darkness, but it was put in this set. So this is a 2700 body that is treated as both a Dark and a Wind while it's on the field, and then you can banish a Dark and a Wind monster from your graveyard to special summon it from the hand, or you can banish a Dark and a Wind from your hand to special summon it from the graveyard, and as long as it's out, your opponent cannot set cards. This includes monsters, so it is very easy with this to just lock your opponent out of the game. And then the other secret rare that is extremely powerful is Archlord Christia. This is a build-around because it requires fairies. If you have exactly 4 fairies in your graveyard, you can special summon it from your hand, and then you get to buy back a fairy in your graveyard and put it in your hand, and it prevents both players from special summoning monsters. This is quite powerful and sees play today. And we do have a couple of side products to talk about as well. We have the first Hidden Arsenal, which released on November 5th of 2009. This is a very small set. It only has 30 cards. You get 4 super rares and 1 secret rare per pack. The super rares are really not worth talking about. There aren't very many good ones, if any, but the secret rares have quite a bit of power to them. The ones that we're going to be looking for if we open this set are going to be X-Saber Airbellum. We have 1 copy of this from the 2009 starter deck, but we would like to have a second one, and that will let us play Synchro Cat. But the big prizes are the 5 Synchro monsters. All of these Synchro monsters are very playable, and 4 of them are extremely powerful. The dud is X-Saber Airbellum, which it's still not terrible. It's just a little bit awkward to use. It's a little small for a 7, but the rest of these are nuts. So the synchros that are super good, we'll start with Reenact Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Brio's nuts. This was a staple of extra decks at the time, and it's not too hard to see why. And this is also pre-errata. You can make this with 6 stars, just generic materials. It's 2300, which isn't bad. And then you can discard any number of cards and target the same number of cards your opponent controls and send all those cards back to the hand. This is not a hard once per turn. Not yet. And this doesn't get its errata for a while, so this can be incredibly powerful. And then Mistworm is our first generic 9. We have had Synchro 9s in the past, but this one is completely generic. This card was $100 on release, just because it was the only Synchro 9 with a very powerful effect. You need 3 materials to make it, and it's a 2500, but if it's Synchro Summoned, you get to bounce 3 cards your opponent controls. This is very good at pushing through. It's almost like Giant Trunade on an extra deck monster with added flexibility, because that can bounce cards, not just monsters. And then we have Flamvel Urquizas, which is a generic 6 that has piercing, and then every time it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, it gains 300 attack. So after 1 strike, it's a 2400 piercer, which is not bad. And then one of the bigger ones in here is Ally of Justice Cataster. This is a 2200 Synchro 5, and we haven't had too many Synchro 5s. I think there are only 2 Synchro 5s that are completely generic at this point, and they are, well, only one that's absolutely generic, and then one that's almost generic. There's Magical Android, which I have, and then Sea Dragon Lord Gashilnadon, which is mostly generic. You just have to make it with a 2 and a 3. This can be made with any combination up to 5, and then at the start of the damage step, if it battles a face-up non-dark monster, you get to destroy that monster. This card can be very frustrating for any non-dark focused deck out. And then there's one other release I'd like to go over, which is the Warrior Strike Structure deck, released on the 23rd of October 2009. This was a pretty powerful structure deck that you could just slap some copies of together and you'd have a pretty good deck at the time. The cards that we get out of here are pretty numerous. We get all 3 of the brand new cards, of course, which aren't going to impact their format, but we get a lot of pretty powerful stuff. We get a Spell Striker, there's a Card Trooper that we get, a Supervise. Unfortunately, I won't be able to use this just because Gigaplant is banned. There's a Mind Con, Burden of the Mighty, Hidden Armory. This is the first printing of Hidden Armory, and this is pretty powerful. This lets you mill the top card of your deck and then add an equip from your deck or your graveyard to your hand in exchange for your normal summon. We get Nightmare Steel Cage, which is another stall card. There's a reprint of Divine Sword Phoenix Blade in here, which is quite good. But the big reprint is Dark Bribe. We really would like to keep Demon off of this because if he gets a Dark Bribe, then we have to start playing around negates. And just the more negates we can have, the more disruption we'll be able to do to Demon. This card is still a -1, but it's such a powerful tempo tool that I certainly wouldn't mind having another copy of it. It's more important that we keep Demon off of it, though. Alright, 24 packs of Stardust Overdrive. This has just a few cards that we're looking for. I wouldn't mind seeing another Earthbound Immortal to add to the consistency of my Turbo deck, but those are going to fade into obscurity once we get through the rest of 5Ds, and we're already at the halfway through 5Ds, so I gotta think about some bans. I have an idea of what I want to ban, but that, of course, could change depending on what Demon plays in this episode. But 24 packs of Stardust Overdrive starting now. And we got a super rare right off the bat. It's Majestic Dragon. It would be really ironic if we got Stardust Xiaolong as well, because we could make Majestic Star Dragon, except wait, we don't have a Stardust Dragon. I would like to pick up a Stardust Dragon at some point soon. If I get another ultra rare craft, I'm probably going to grab a Stardust Dragon, but the rest of this is not very good. And there's a Stardust Xiaolong. What's going on? If we actually get Majestic Star Dragon, I'm gonna be pretty upset because we get all the cards to make Majestic Star Dragon, but we can't make it because we don't have the Stardust Dragon itself. I just think it's so funny that we got Stardust Xiaolong and Majestic Dragon back to back. But the rest of these cards are not very good. And there's our first Infernity Necromancer. We're gonna need a lot of luck to be able to play Infernity, but we do have the Infernity Archfiend and the Infernity Dwarf, plus I believe there's another Infernity Dwarf reprint coming. So depending on if we can pick up some strong stuff like a launcher later on, we may be able to play that Infernity deck. And there's our first ultra rare. That is Crusader of Endymion. This is a Gemini that lets you add a spell counter to a card that you can place a spell counter on, and it makes it a 2500 until end of turn. It's a 1900 too by default, which is pretty beefy. And then we also got our first copy of Swap Frog. Very important that we get 3 of these, because that is one of the things that makes the Frog deck go. And there's our first Level Eater. Now, by the time Level Eater becomes relevant, it's going to be banned. The only way that we'll have Level Eater at multiple copies while it's relevant is perhaps in Zexal if we can get some good Rank 1 Xyzs, but Rank 1 Xyzs are pretty hard to come by. There's our first Fortune Lady. We got Fortune Lady Dark, which unfortunately is not one of the good ones because it's a tribute summon, and I think it's highly unlikely that we'll be able to play a Fortune Lady deck, just because every single card, as far as monsters go, in that archetype is a rare. Nice Shine Palace. That card was I believe this predated Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon in the OCG, and it took us until 2009 to get it. It's not good. There's another Moire of Greed, I guess. I mean, the decks that want to play that want 3 copies just to be able to cycle cards, but it's awful situational outside of something like Frog. Very funny to put Dark Rabbit in this set of all things. This is one of those cards that's also been around for a very long time, but we only just got it now. That is another Gemini Spark, though. That's fine. We do need 1 more of those to fill out our set. Dark Rabbit is not a relevant card by any stretch of the imagination. About halfway through the box, and we have not seen a lot of stuff that I am looking for. We only have one Swap Frog, and we're missing a lot of things. Rinyan would be good if we were playing Lightsworn, but unfortunately we won't be able to get a Lightsworn core anytime soon, even when we do get the Realm of Light structure deck much later on. And there's a Prep! That's one of the really big super rares in this set. I'm super happy to see a Prep. I can start playing Ritual decks. I do have a lot of Ritual support as it is, but Prep is such a strong card. There's another Level Eater. We did get another Necromancer and a Gemini Spark, so that fills out our playset of Gemini Spark. Unfortunately, I just don't think we'll be able to do anything with the Geminis, just because one of the best Geminis is banned. Yo, speaking of ritual monsters, that is an ultimate rare, Divine Grace Northwenko. That's a pretty strong card as well. This is a 2700 ritual monster at level 7, that when it's ritual summoned, you get to choose a number of face-up cards on the field up to the number of monsters that were used as ritual material, and they don't even have to be your own cards. They can be your opponent's cards too. And then while any of those cards are face-up, Northwenko can't be destroyed by card effects. This is a pretty interesting Ritual 7 that I might wind up playing depending on the ARA package that I can make. I still haven't seen a releaser yet, which is pretty frustrating, but Northwenko is pretty good. And a second Swap Frog, of course, is good as well. There's another Fortune Lady. It's unfortunately the other Tribute one. The other two Fortune Ladies are actually quite good, but those are not, and we're just not going to be able to get enough of them to be able to play the deck, just because they're all at rare. And there's another super rare. It is one of Yusei's signature monsters. It is Max Warrior. And Max Warrior isn't too bad. It's a 2200 attacker, but when it does destroy a monster by battle, it does get its level and its stats halved until your next standby phase. But a 2200 normal summon is pretty good. Boy, are we missing a lot of commons from this set still. And that's a Jin, but I believe this is the wrong one. This is Jin Presider. Yeah, this is the wrong one. This is still good in Ritual decks, but it's not Jin Releaser. And Jin Releaser is the one that's going to be absolutely incredible. Could you imagine if Jin Releaser of Rituals was around in something like Drytron? That would make it even more impressive. And I actually just noticed 19 packs in, and that's our first Quick Draw Syncron. That's an important common to have as well. Oh my god, we are missing so many important commons from this set. And another Prep! Oh, wow! Double Prep? I really think we have to build some kind of Ritual deck soon. We just have to figure out what our Ritual monsters are going to be, because 2 Preparation of Rites is so strong! Alright, so only 3 packs left. We're still missing quite a few of the commons that I'm looking for, and there's a particular rare that I mentioned that I haven't seen yet, so hopefully some of these cards turn up in the last 3 packs. And that's a Quick Draw Syncron, another one of those. 2 of those isn't bad. I think most of the decks that want to play Quick Draw Syncron run 2. That is our 3rd Moire of Greed, and I don't think the rest of these cards matter too much. Then for a second to last pack, another Stardust Xiaolong. Oh, there's our 3rd Swap Frog. That's important. No Gateway yet, though. Gateway is a super rare, so I wasn't really expecting to get it, but Gateway is one of those cards that, depending on what we pull in the next few sets, we might have to craft that. And I am still quite focused on crafts because there are a lot of rares and commons that I missed out of some really important sets. So let's go ahead and crack open our final pack, see if we can get a banger in the close. Hoop! That did not look like a banger. We did get a Level Eater, though, so that makes our 3rd Level Eater. And we got another Quick Draw, so I think we got most of the commons that we were looking for in the end. It's just unfortunate that we missed out on Jin Releaser, and we didn't get Gateway. But I didn't think the set was going to be impacting too much, so let's go ahead and head to the deck editor. Alright, so this is the deck that we'll be taking to today's duel for Stardust Overdrive. Not a ton has changed, but I do want to go over some of the important cards that we've acquired from side sets and some ways we've changed up the deck a bit. We have 3 copies of Blizzard, 2 Bora, 1 copy of Fame the Steel Chain, mostly as a target for Black Whirlwind. This can mess up some combat by allowing us to change the position of monsters, but it is pretty weak at only 500 attack. 3 Kalute, 1 Mistral the Silver Shield. It's another another tuner, and this deck does have a lot of tuners, and we have run into issues of having too many tuners, but I think this is necessary as another Black Whirlwind target, as well as another Crush Card Virus target. Then we have one Shura and triple Sirocco rounding out our Black Wings. For the non-Black Wings, we have Cyberjar, one DD Crow. I did trim this down to 1 from 3 to make room for the new Black Wings. If we are looking at a graveyard-focused strategy, we will bring the other 2 copies in. 1 Krebons, 1 Psychic Commander for E-Telly targets, 1 Sangan, 1 Trag, and 1 Witch of the Black Forest, rounding out the main deck. As far as the monsters go, for the spells that we have in the main deck, we have double Allure, double Black Whirlwind, 1 Emergency Teleport, 1 Gold Sark, 1 Instant Fusion, 1 MST, 1 Pot of Greed, and 1 of the newly acquired Premature Burial thanks to Retro Pack 2. If Demon is smart, he should be taking a lot of packs of this set, specifically to try to get the common staples in that pack. So then we may have to deal with multiple copies of Torrential going forward, but I'm okay with having this pre-mat. That's a pretty good pickup, and I don't think I'm going to go into Retro Pack 2 too much more. And for the traps, 1 Call of the Haunted, 1 Crush Card Virus. Probably the last time we're going to be able to play this because there are bans coming up, and I'm pretty sure this is high on his list. 1 Dark Bribe, 1 D-Prison, double Icarus attack. Trim this down to 3 because with CCB, I found that triple Icarus attack was a bit bricky, so I went ahead and trimmed the 3rd copy to the board, but we will bring it in if we need to. And then Mirror Force, Ring of Destruction making its return. I actually had cut this for a while and forgot I had it in my collection, so we are bringing Ring of Destruction back. Pretty happy to have this card back, it's just more removal. And then 1 Solemn Judgment and Torrential Tribute, freshly acquired from Retro Pack 2. We now have a board wipe, which is fantastic. I've been waiting so long to get a card like Torrential Tribute just to be able to break boards easier. Super happy to have this card. And then for the side deck, we have 1 Caius, the rest of the DD Crows, 1 Gores, 1 Mindcon, double Prohib, triple Blackhorn, the 3rd Icarus attack, a macro, a Royal Oppression. This is a card that we haven't seen too much of in Progression Series yet, and I'm sure it's going to get banned soon. But I do have this in my side deck if Demon is on a synchro-heavy deck. This is reciprocal, but we have pretty big monsters. We would most likely be bringing this in alongside the Caius and the Gores, just to be able to make it harder for opponent to make big monsters, as well as have something that we can deflect our opponent's spell and trap removal to, and then 2 copies of Sakuretsu as well. Then for the extra deck, we have Thousand Eyes Restrict as a 1, Dragonis the Wicked Knight as a 3, Darkfire Dragon as a 4, and Musician King as a 5 for instant fusion. And then for the synchros, we have 1 Black Rose Dragon, can't wait to have this back at 3. But we have Exploder Dragonwing, which we can't make. One of our newly minted Goyo Guardian, thanks to our ultra rare craft that we got at the end of the last episode. Triple Iron Chain, 1 Magical Android, 1 Power Tool Dragon, because this is the only other generic 7 that we have. I don't think we're going to be going into this, but if we do want to go into a 7 and not commit to Black Rose Dragon, this is what we'll have. Double RDA, and then the Trident Dravion, which we can't make. Alright, this is going to mark the halfway in the 5Ds era, and I think there's some big changes on the way with what our ban list is going to be doing. I hope you're ready, because it's time to rev it up! Stardust Overdrive is certainly one of the least impactful sets we've had in a while, but they're coming, and this is going to be an impactful set for another reason that we'll get to after the duel.
Yeah. Now, that's the thing, though. This set itself doesn't carry very many powerful cards, but it does introduce 1 new card, and at common at that actually is going to play a pretty big part in the general meta starting with the next set. So that'll be interesting to see once we get to that point.
And we're also 1 set away from quite an exciting time in the history of the game, but we have this set to get through first.
Yes, we do. Ooh, that's a good start for me.
That is, considering you're on a pretty big losing streak.
Yep, well, hopefully I can snap that. But I'll take the play.
Well, good luck to you.
Alright, so draw, stand by main. Let's see. I think I'm going to start by setting 1 card, setting a monster, and then setting 2 back row.
Draw for turn, stand by main. I think I'm going to do the same. Go.
Alright, draw. Standby, main. Ooh, that's not a bad one. Okay, so I think I'm going to take a chance. I'll activate Mystical Space Typhoon, target your face down here.
You got a pretty good one. You got Bribe.
Ooh, Dark Bribe. Okay, that's pretty good. Then, what do I want to do next? I think I'm going to... You know what? I think it's time for me to reveal what I'm doing. I'm going to start by activating Gladiator Proving Ground.
Interesting. I wonder why you weren't playing this before.
Any response?
No, that's good.
Alright, let's see. I think I'm going to add a copy of Gladiator Beast Laquari to my hand.
Jelly.
Then I'm going to run out my my Laquari.
You have a Laquari.
I will flip summon my Darius.
That seems good.
And I'm going to go into battle, and let's hit Laquari into your defense.
It's Witch.
Okay.
Witch is gonna get me Sirocco.
Rocco. Okay. And Darius will hit for 17.
17 in. Do your things.
Okay. Alright, so at the end of battle phase, Darius will tag out first.
Yep.
We will bring out Bestiari, and then we'll bring Laquari, bring out...
These are actually on separate chains, so before you... it's not going to matter for searching purposes, but I am going to go ahead and chain the back row, which is going to be MST.
Okay. And that'll be my sack.
That's a pretty good thing to hit, but yeah, you can tag out now.
I think I'm going to go ahead and bring out a copy of Hoplimus.
Yep, that seems okay.
So we will do that to indicate that.
Yep.
Main phase 2, I will activate Gladiator Beast Battle Manica and equip it to my Bestiari.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
And I will pass.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna activate... God, that's so good. That is so good. Well, I don't think there's a way I'm not firing Whirlwind.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the question now becomes, what are you going to do beyond that?
How do I deal with this board is the question. Yeah, it's just, Manica's so good. God, Manica's so good right now. This is where not having Gale is a problem. Okay, it's not great, but I think I know what I have to do.
Let's see what you got.
I'm gonna normal Sirocco trigger Black Whirlwind.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab a copy of Bora to hand.
I'm not
I'll
surprised.
special this Bora. I'm gonna go ahead and activate the effect of Sirocco targeting Bora, so Bora will become a 37.
Okay.
I'll go to the battle phase, and I'm just gonna crush this Hoplimus, and you'll take 13.
Alright, I will take the 13.
Just, unfortunately, I don't really have a good answer for Bestiari, so I'll pass the turn.
Alright, draw. Standby main. That's actually an interesting card, but unfortunately not one I want to make use of at the moment. However, I do have this as an option. So I'm going to normal summon my Gladiator Beast Murmillo.
I know. If you're playing Gladiator Beast, you must have gotten a craft. Or you just pulled this and have been missing something else. I get the feeling my board is getting blown up. Yep.
Yes, it is. So we will pop the Black Whirlwind and the Sirocco.
Yep, and then the Bora's gonna get run over in combat, probably.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead, slam it down.
Damage step.
Oh, you've got a collude, don't you?
I do. So the Bora goes to 31.
And that was on me because I should have attached Battle Manica to that. That was a screw up on my part, but oh well. Alright. Good to go.
I mean, it's your first time with the deck, so this is to be expected. And if you would have been playing this deck since Duelist Genesis if this wasn't a craft. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase.
Yeah, remember how last episode I ended up with the 6 total wildcard any? Let's just say I ended up
6 crafts?
Yeah, remember I hit 2 of those spins in a row.
Jesus Christ. I mean, well, that's gonna fix stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah, let me put it this way. Half of them went into Glad stuff.
Well, I guess we're going to be playing Glad Mirrors for a while then. Who's good at Glad Mirrors is the question.
Yeah, that's going to be one slight issue on my end, because you have a lot more experience than I do with this kind of deck.
How hard do I want to push is the question. Honestly, I kind of want to just go gung-ho at this point. I'm going to go ahead and run out this Mistral.
Minstrel? Ooh. Okay, so you're going into a 6, obviously. But
and then I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Premat.
Premat. Oh, I forgot you had this.
I actually just picked this up, so you didn't know.
Oh,
I had
you
it.
did?
Yeah,
Oh.
I just pulled that. Oh, that was a misclick. I'm gonna
Wait,
go.
was this in gold?
No, that was in Retro Pack 2.
Oh, goodness.
That was the reprint pack that just got added to the wheel.
Ooh, that's a good one then.
So,
yeah.
So I'm gonna pre-mat for Witch, and then I'm gonna sink.
So you're gonna make a 6 then, because I doubt you can't make the the dragon that you got, but
I really hate
good.
to do this, but I'm just gonna commit to Goyo.
Oh, you got a Goyo!
This was a craft.
Oh, okay, this is a bit of an issue now.
So I'm gonna go ahead and trigger Witch of the Black Forest, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab myself a copy of... See, this is where having Gale would be so nice, but...
Yeah, because you can't just pick up another Bora to drop on us.
I'm gonna go ahead and make you play around Kalut again.
Oh, boy.
And then I'll go Battle Phase and just hit for 45.
Yeah, I'll take that. I don't like it, but...
And then I'll pass the turn.
Alright, draw. Standby main. Ugh. I'm going to set a monster, set a card, and I will pass.
Boy, if that's exactly Sakuretsu, that's a huge problem. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna normal Blizzard here. Target probably just the Kalut. That good?
That's good.
I'm going to proceed to battle, and I probably should play this safe. Yeah, I'm gonna play this safe. I'm gonna go ahead and attack with Goyo.
I am so glad you did that, because you flipped my Cyber Jar!
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And if you would have attacked with Bora, I was dead.
I was trying to play around Sack. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Now the question is, what's gonna happen here? Oh, shit. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, yeah. I picked up this, too.
Oh, I didn't even notice the TT. I just saw the Feign. Actually, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go straight to that, because Feign plus Kalut means I'm phoned.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was another Kalut in there, too. But yeah.
Yeah, that would have been hit hard.
That's not the way I was expecting you to find out about the TT.
Okay, so that was a game.
That was a game. Another thing, I didn't think I would ever be upset to get a high rarity craft, because I actually need low rarity crafts bad.
Right. Well, I'll say this much. The fact that you crafted Goyo makes me a little safer, because that means that you're probably not going to turn around and hit it with the Banhammer now. At least not for a while.
So I was this close to crafting another Test Tiger.
Oh, boy. Okay, so I'll draw.
But
standby main.
Clearly, it was the wrong decision, because if you're playing a core like this, then obviously you're not going to ban Bestiari.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna start by activating my Gladiator Proving Ground.
That seems good.
Let's see. What can I add?
Maybe when we get the Glad support later on, somebody will actually have Ash.
Maybe.
Although I don't think you would Ash this anyway.
Think I'll add Hop.
That's pretty good.
This is a tough one, because the fact that you have Kalut makes things a lot tougher too, because that means Hoplomys isn't as big a wall as it usually is. I'm going to set a monster, set a card, and pass.
That's exactly the reason why people got frustrated with Blackwings back in 2009. Anyway, standby main. I'm going to fire an Allure.
Yeah, that's good. God damn.
Draw a couple.
I mean, I can't complain. I pulled like 2 of these in our offline series, so...
Oh man, I hate to do this. Really hate to do this, but I am going to banish a Blizzard.
Blizzard? Okay.
Shura?
Thinking.
What do you have on Summon of Sirocco? Or not Shura, this is Sirocco, I'm sorry. So you were still thinking on Summon of Sirocco.
Right. I think I'm best off flipping my Book of Moon now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because otherwise, you're going to be off to the races, and that's not a good start for me.
Well, not like I'm attacking Sirocco with...
No, but if you drop Sirocco, clearly you've got a Bora in hand, so...
I'll just set a couple. Go.
Alright. Draw. Standby main.
I mean, obviously your set's Hoplomys.
That's not too bad. Okay, so first I'm going to flip my Hoplimus.
Yep, knew that. That's why I didn't. That's why I wasn't planning on attacking anyway.
Let's see. Then I'm going to... How do I want to do this exactly?
If you need to know, Sirocco has 900 defense.
Right, okay. Does not... That itself does not actually help me as much, but... Man, I'm not thrilled about this, but I need to start getting some pressure off. So I'm going to special summon my Test Tiger.
You have a Test Tiger.
I will trigger Test Tiger's effect.
I mean, if you got that many crafts, then obviously you have a full Gladcore. Bestiary.
Drop Bestiary. Let's hit that one.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't like it.
Ooh, okay. Then, God, do I want... The question is, how far do I... What is that other face-down card? That's the big question. Then, as much as I want to run Bestiary in there, I am terrified that this face-down is going to be either a Mirror Force or a D-Prison. If it's Mirror Force, it's not that bad. If it's D-Prison, that's holy hell. Yeah. So to play around that a little, I'm going to summon out my Plague Spreader Zombie.
On summon of Plague Spreader Zombie, I'm going to Icarus attack to pop your board.
Okay. Okay, that's actually not that bad. I will set a card and I will pass.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm going to fire my other allure.
Yep, that's good.
I'll draw a couple, banish the Cyber Jar. I also drew Pot of Greed.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I am going to just set a back row.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. That is not the card I wanted to see. But I guess that's not what I wanted to see, but alright. Question is, do I go in now or do I wait? I think I'm going to just set a card and I'll pass.
I'm gonna go ahead and space this.
Damn, that was my no entry.
No entry's a pretty good one. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Boy, this doesn't feel good, but I think I need to start putting pressure on. I'm gonna run out Bora.
Okay.
Proceed to battle. Show me the sack.
I do not have the stack.
Or just use life point total, or just use your life total as a resource. I'm gonna set a back row afterward. Pass.
Okay. Draw. Standby, son of a bitch. Okay. That's not what I wanted to see, and that's certainly not what I want to use this for. But do I have anything that would necessarily get me out of this is the question. I'm gonna play safe. I'm gonna set another card and pass.
Alright, draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm just gonna proceed to battle. 17.
Alright. I'll take the 17.
Main phase 2, I'm gonna set another back row and pass.
Okay. Draw. Standby main.
Gotta make a move soon, buddy.
Yeah, I don't like this, but finally got something. So I'm going to run out my Gladiator Beast Darius.
You have a Darius.
Then I'm going to this card back on top of my deck.
Oh, for Plague Spreader. Yep.
For Plague Spreader. Then I'm going to activate Gladiator Beast's Battle Manica, targeting my Darius.
Yep. Oh, you're gonna use this to take out the Bora. Yep.
And then I'm going to also flip my Battle Halberd.
Pulls up a back row. It's so good.
Battle phase. Let's go ahead and crash.
Yeah, that'll clear this out. And then I will the damage step. Oh my god, that's so good for you.
Okay. So, end of the battle phase, I will put Darius back to the deck. These will go back to my hand.
Oh my god, that's such good value.
Question is, which one do I want to bring out now?
At least
I
Bestiary.
have an idea.
At least your Bestiary's gone.
Sort of, because I'm going to special summon my Gladiator Beast Equeste.
Yeah, that's an Equest, so that'll get your Bestiary back. I mean, Equest is pretty good.
And then, let's be safe and activate Battle Manica on Equest.
Sure.
And pass.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Oh, you're not going to like this at all. I am going to Mind Con your Equest. You might remember I acquired this a long time ago.
True. That's going to be rough because you're either going to sync or no, you're probably going to synchro with it then if you're willing to do that. Sure.
I do have Krebons. You have another
I
Book of Moon? I can't remember. I think Book of Moon's at 2 still.
No response.
Okay, I am in a synchro.
Unfortunately, Battle Manica goes away and does not come back this time.
Boy, I really don't want to commit to Goyo, but I think I have to.
Okay.
I think I need to just put as much pressure on the table as possible. I'm gonna Call of the Haunted Aura.
Ooh. Okay.
Battle phase 15.
I will take the 15. And unfortunately,
Yep,
that gets banished.
And then I'm going to proceed to lose the Scoyo Guardian to a sack.
No, but it is a Book of Moon.
Interesting that you didn't Book of Moon the tuner.
The issue specifically was if I booked the tuner, my end goal was to keep Plague around for the turn.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you hadn't had called, then I would have been okay to do so.
Alright. It'll be your turn. I guess if you were trying to protect the Plague Spreader and not be a Kest, then that makes a ton more sense.
Okay. I don't like this. I really don't like this, but I'm going to summon out Bestiari.
You have a Bestiari.
I will activate Battle Manica.
I am going to Chain Icarus attack.
Ooh.
Kill them both.
Okay. I will set a card and I will pass.
Draw for turn. Standby phase, main phase. Flip the Goyo. Go to battle. 28. Got the sack.
I have
no entry. Yeah, that's fine. Main phase 2, I'll set another back row. And
I'm safe for another turn. Standby main.
So many battle traps.
God, that's not what I want, but you're... Alright, let's give this a shot. I don't like this, but I'm going to run out Darius.
That's a Darius.
I will crash into Goyo.
I do have Ring. Which should be
the game. That's the end.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, Blackwings are super consistent, even though I don't have Gale. But,
Oh, that would have been a friggin' good card. My next card was E-Telly. That would have been kind of helpful.
That must be a craft also.
No, I actually pulled that a while back.
Yeah, the Minecon out of the side was integral in that game.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good one. A good pickup. Yeah, okay, so I'm fine showing off 3 of my wild cards that I picked up.
I figured you crafted a bunch of Glad stuff.
The first was Laquari.
Interesting. Did you not pull a Laquari either?
No.
How did we both not get Laquari? It's a rare.
I know, right? The second one was Geyserus,
yeah,
and then the third one was my Heraclinus.
Yeah, you're on a full Glad core. I figured if you got that many crafts and you hadn't played Glads until now, I figured you were on a full Glad core. So
right,
yeah,
and I'm willing to show my 4th wild card, and you're lucky that I picked this one because otherwise I would have heavily considered for a ban. But
oh, you crafted a Black Rose too? That's fair.
Yeah, you're not the only one to have a board wipe now. So basically, Goyo Guardian and Black Rose Dragon are now the equivalent of our nukes because we are both sitting here going, if one of us hits the button, the other one goes too.
I figured that was the thing. It's actually kind of amazing that since we both have those now, we might go an entire round of Synchro Era without having an extra deck monster get banned, which is wild that no extra deck monsters have gotten banned yet.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, too. Because of the fact that we have access to, like, multiple rounds of wild cards to work with for this kind of thing, it makes it to where we have chances of getting these to where it's not completely broken. Because, like, otherwise, I'm absolutely certain Goyo would have been banned, at the end of this, otherwise.
I mean, we'll have to see. That's actually one of the reasons why you might have remembered that when I crafted my second Allure, I had turned down a Goyo Guardian.
Right.
And then I got another UR craft, and I was thinking about taking a Test Tiger. And I'm like, am I really going to turn Goyo Guardian down again? And I just could not make myself do it. This card is too powerful. Even after we need Earth Tuners for it, because this is pre-errata right now. But even after it gets its errata, it's still very powerful.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you know me. You know there is one deck that if I can build, even at post-errata, that will be able to run Goyo Guardian perfectly.
Oh, easily, and I'm absolutely terrified of that deck.
Speaking of, yeah, guess who may have pulled the card they needed out of this set for it?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Did you get a Gateway?
Yes. the only reason I'm saying that now, instead of holding that to my chest, is because, one, the problem is, in order to run the legendary 6 Samurai, you need 3 keys on, which are super rares. So, unless I get lucky and manage to pull them or wildcard them early enough, let's be honest, there's a very good chance that one of those cards would get hit preemptively anyway. And on top of that, even if I tell it to you now, and then at some point you decide, you know what, let's ban it just to protect it, then it means that I have to worry about one less card I'm currently using as a ban, like to get banned. So,
but it'll be interesting to see what rounds there are for the banning, because there will be 5 total bans. How about we go resolve those?
Yeah, let's go ahead and resolve those real quick.
Hard to believe we're halfway through 5Ds already. This arc has been flying by.
I know, this is crazy.
But we are halfway through the arc, so there are some offenders that have to go because of our records. You get 3 and I get 2, so I have to ask you, DemonBattler, what is the first card that you would like to send to the Netherworld today?
Okay, so for the first card we're sending to the Netherworld,
I think
this should honestly, this should come as absolutely no friggin' surprise. Rye, I am sorry. You may have won the SJC, but Crush Card Virus is going straight to hell.
Well, yeah, Crush Card Virus single-handedly wins the game as soon as it resolves.
I didn't even realize that CCV got eroded at some point. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it got eroded into unplayability around 2016, I think? It was right around Lynx, but it got eroded into absolute unplayability. But yeah, honestly, I'm okay with that going, because Blackwing is already crazy enough. It doesn't need to, and that's the reason why I added the Fane and the Mistral, so that I could search for that off Blackwing and make CCV more consistent.
Right.
Because you don't need to deal with that on top of Blackwing. Alright, so my first card that I'm going to send to the Netherworld, and this should surprise no one at all. I have been trying to ban this card for 3 or 4 rounds now, but there's always been much more pressing cards for me to ban, and I can finally take a breather and get this card out of the format. And this is a vengeance ban for you hitting Feather Duster all that time ago. I'm gonna ban Heavy Storm.
Oh, man. Well, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. And it's not as much as it sucks, it's not the worst thing in the world, because we still have MST available. We both have MST. We're gonna be coming off with limited sometime soon.
Yeah, we're soon gonna have multiples of MST, and then we have...
And we're gonna have upgrades of it too, so...
If we need more, we have, like, Dusts.
Yeah,
I have Icarus Attack, so there's plenty of backer removal out there. I just don't want to deal with Heavy Storm anymore.
Yeah, which, granted, I will say Icarus Attack is on my radar for later, but for this wave of bans, it's not actually on... It's not gonna be directly in the sight, so...
Because Icarus Attack gets great later as well, not just with Blackwings, but we have like Raid Raptor, Lyrilusk.
Oh god.
There's great Wing Beast archetypes out there. And
oh yeah.
And there are even some Glad decks that have tried playing Icarus Attack as well, because Ikest is a Wing Beast. Alright, well, with Heavy Storm gone, I get to ask you again, DemonBattler, what card would you like to send on a one-way trip to the Netherworld?
Okay, so this one may seem a little more odd, but this is actually more a case of dealing with it in turbo duels, specifically because of the fact that, well, put it this way, even if I kill it, I die. So we're gonna go ahead and drag Earthbound Immortal Asilipiscu back into the ground where it belongs.
That doesn't surprise me either.
Because that's the thing is, Kokopakafu is strong, don't get me wrong, but Sakuretsu Armor tells it to go screw itself.
It does.
No problem.
It does, but...
Asilipiscu, however, literally says, okay, bye-bye board if that happens.
Yeah, Asilipiscu takes the board, and now the advantage swings your way in the turbo duels, because you have 2 Earthbound Immortals to my 1, and I would need to reconsider it. Okay, so I have my second ban coming up, and this one might also surprise you a little bit. There have been several instances where I've wanted to play a machine deck for a really long time, and then I recently got the cards to play a machine deck, and then I lost a very critical duel that I needed to keep this card out of your hands, and it really hurts me to have to use a ban. And this is going to be the first extra deck monster that finds its way onto the ban list. I am banning Chimera-Tech Fortress Dragon.
You son of a bitch. Damn, that actually may be the first ban that's actually hurt me in quite a while. Like, granted, I have not had a chance to make use of it, but it's been a pretty prominent threat against machines, so...
My argument for banning Chimera-Tech Fortress Dragon is that both of us have multiples of Cyber Dragon, and
yeah.
I don't mind, like, Overdragon Super Poly shenanigans, because that requires a lot more setup, but just all you have to do to shut down any machine deck I could ever play is commit one extra deck slot. And we're not at the point where extra deck slots are super tight, so I think that removing this card from the format to allow machine-based archetypes to see play is going to help out quite a bit once Black Wings inevitably get their wings clipped by the ban list.
Oh yeah.
Because we're going to be losing a lot of cards, even if it's temporary. A lot of stuff is going to get clipped from Black Wings. We get most of it back pretty quickly, but I still think that for the purposes of just being able to play machine decks again, I just don't want to deal with Fortress Dragons specifically, and I think this is going to wind up putting System down inside decks again.
I think so, which is kind of a bit iffy, but yeah, it makes sense. So, I guess it's time for my third pick then, which, yeah, you mentioned that the Black Wings are going to get their wings clipped a little bit in the ban list. We're actually going to have that a little bit here, because I'm going to hit a card that might seem a little odd, but it has been a bit of a problem for me. I'm going to go ahead and clip the wings of Blackwing Sirocco the Dawn.
That's a really interesting Blackwing to hit.
The reason for this one is specifically because, yes, Kalut is a bigger pain in the ass in general. I recognize that. But the problem with Kalut is you have to have it in your hand or have a way to pull it to your hand. The problem with, whereas Sirocco, it lets you summon to the field if you have nothing on the field. It lets you spam all of your other monsters like Bora, like Gale, things like that. And then on top of that, it gives you essentially a multi-use Kalut, effectively. And given the fact that we also have Bora, that means that turns it into a much bigger pain in the rear to deal with. So, and on top of that, the fact that Sirocco is also a 5 means that you can actually make a lot better use of it in terms of levels for some higher level synchros later. So honestly, I feel like Sirocco is a good way to clip the wings of the deck a little bit without absolutely neutering it. Because like if I hit something like say Blizzard or Black Whirlwind or Kalut, that basically shuts the deck down entirely. And I don't necessarily want to kill it off yet.
Yeah, I was actually thinking you were going to hit Whirlwind, but Sirocco's I can see just because it makes it a lot harder to beat over big defensive threats like Hoplimus without committing to a Kalut or just committing resources in general, because all you have to do is just special summon one thing. I think the big thing that hurts with the Sirocco ban, not just the fact that you can't do that anymore, but there's so fewer names. I think this is fine because Blackwings keep their relevance well into Xyz's format and our format.
And that's the other thing too. Sirocco typically, like in the general constructive format, Sirocco wasn't all that big of a card in the first place. So in our case, it is a bit stronger because of our limited pools, but at the same time, it's also not so strong that clipping it removes the deck from effectiveness, which is kind of nice. So it'll help slow it down a little bit, and help try to keep things a little more fair and balanced.
I think so, and it'll be interesting to see how the removal of Sirocco affects the consistency in the Blackwing deck.
So, with that being said, now we only have one other thing to discuss before we go into our wheels.
We do.
And that is the tins for 2009.
That is the collector's tins, yes. So since I won the first duel, I have a big decision to make, and this is probably going to give away what my plans are going forward. For the first 4 cards, because these cards aren't great. Like, Wirko Jaraska is not playable, Majestic Star Dragon is not playable. The funny thing is, with these, you would think that I would take AFD. But I'm not going to, and this is going to give away part of the reason why I banned Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon.
I know exactly what you're doing. I know exactly what you had in mind, and I'm very disappointed in this because, truth be told, Power Tool Dragon would make a very good addition to the Gladiator Beast deck in general.
Oh yeah, it's a very respectable Synchro 7, but yeah, I am definitely going to grab the Power Tool here.
Man. See, the thing that's... Man, that actually really hurts. Because here's something funny. I thought I already had Ancient Fairy Dragon. That's why I was so bummed about it. I forgot. I'm getting my pools mixed up with my Edison deck that I recently built in paper. So
I mean,
okay, so yeah, I'll happily snatch the Ancient Fairy Dragon then, because that'll be a decent 7. That'll help pull some powerful field spells that we need, and also clear out specific field spells that we need.
The rest of these cards are unplayable, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I guess it's just a case of pick whichever one you want to deal with.
You know what's really funny is in the case of Majestic Star Dragon, which I'm gonna take for the meme, I actually pulled Majestic Dragon out of Stardust Overdrive.
Really now?
I did. I'm not planning on trying to make this, of course, but I actually did pull a Majestic Dragon. And I pulled a Stardust Xiaolong, too.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I pulled 2 of the Stardust Xiaolong. I just didn't pull the Majestic Dragon, which...
And Majestic Dragon is a super rare.
Yeah. The thing about Majestic Dragon is it wouldn't be a bad card if it weren't for the fact that it only works for Majestic monsters, because that literally reduces it down to only 2 monsters that it can actually matter for.
Yep.
I guess that means I'll be channeling my inner Rex Goodwin and pick up Coaster Raska, so yay, I've got myself... Okay, yeah, I forgot to actually mention this. So, I currently now own 3 Earthbound Immortals, because I also picked up a copy of Kokoraya from the packs.
Jesus Christ, Demon!
Yeah, so I literally have half of the Dark Signer's power in my pool, and aside from, like, one of them, I'm probably not planning on using them.
I mean, Kokoraya is really good, and I'm not looking forward to seeing that. This is actually going to be a serious problem going forward in Turbo Duels, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Earthbound Immortals really get their, like, actually have a lot of power here because of the Turbo Duels. Beyond that, it's just going to be a lot harder to keep them in play, so at least they're getting their time right now while they have it, so.
They are, and maybe we'll see them for Absolute Power Force, which is another set that I've been looking forward to. It comes with one of the most beloved Forbidden and Limited List updates in the history of the game. We are going to be coming to my favorite format of all time with Edison format.
Oh yes, we may not necessarily be an SJC Edison directly, but damn it, this is going to be one hell of an episode coming up. This is going to be a very fun, interesting concept. And especially given the fact that, well, put it this way, remembering what Jeff Jones won the tournament with, and knowing that you have Dandelion, and knowing that Quick Draw Syncron was a common for this set, yeah, I'm a little bit terrified, I'm not gonna lie.
I don't even know if I can actually make Quick Draw Dandy Warrior, though, especially not for Turbo.
True. Turbo is gonna be a bit harder, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, so definitely have some good cards in there, so time to go into our prize wheels.
It is. Boy, these birds have just been a huge pain for Demon. That's 5 consecutive wins that I believe ties the largest win streak that we've had raw in the Progression series so far. So I'm pretty happy with how they performed. Unfortunately, we do need to say goodbye to Sorako, which is a huge problem for me. Now I'm actually kind of thinking about abandoning ship with the Blackwings, but I do want to give this one more try. Low-key, I'm actually kind of hoping to get the SJC Prize Wedge, because that has Dark End Dragon, and our next format would be a representation of SJC Edison, which, of course, is one of the most beloved formats of all time. But let's go ahead and see if we can get one of those low-rarity wild cards. See if I can get 1 rare to pick up a Gale, a common to pick up a Shura. Okay, you stop right there. Thank you. I never thought I would be so happy to see a common wild card. I know exactly what card I'm grabbing. I am going to pick up a second copy of Blackwing Shura the Blue Flame. This is single-handedly going to keep the Blackwing deck alive. and I might be able to pick up a second one too. This is really, really important because this is going to let me swarm. It's the largest Blackwing we have access to, and I would not mind picking up another one. So let's go ahead and run this back and see if we get another common, or better yet, a rare. If we can get a rare, then I can pick up a copy of Gale, and we will just be off to the races. Stop! Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. That is best case scenario. That's what I had been waiting to do. So I know exactly what card I'm picking up. Welcome to the team, Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind. Not much to say about this one, but just welcome to the team. We now have a pretty well-functioning Blackwing deck despite the Sirocco ban. We are still short a Black Whirlwind, but we should be able to pick that up. It did hurt quite a bit to pass up the Hidden Arsenal packs, but I think this is worth it. And that's going to be a wrap for today's episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series. Join us next time when we open Absolute Power Force and explore Edison format. Until then, see you around.